Oscar Bevis for the Stomping Ground, available on DAZN. I've got Mr. Main Event, the CEO of Misfits, Andrew Tate, with me. Thank you very much for giving me some of your time. Look, I know you're no stranger to fighting, but because it's been a little while, is there something different this week for you?
No. I guess once you learn how to ride a bike, you know how to ride a bike. It's crazy how familiar it feels, and I'm very, very excited.
Look, I've watched a lot of your interviews in recent weeks. You've been very relaxed. You seem the same way now, but when's the point when you click in, you focus, and we perhaps get a different Andrew Tate to what we've seen on camera the last few weeks?
I've been focused every single day in training. I've been taking this extremely seriously. It's all I've dedicated my life to for the last 4 months. I've had nothing else going on, nothing else to do. And as I walk to the ring, I'll be ready to fight. I'll 100% be ready to fight. I know I'll be ready to fight. I've visualized it. I know how this ends. I've seen it all. The universe is simply a simulation that we experience. There's many different versions of the universe, and it's already pre-played out. It's already pre-laid. I believe that the result of the fight is set in stone, and it's just a matter of me going through the motions and making the rest of the world understand.
I mean, it seems so natural to you. Was there a point in your life you can remember exactly when you perhaps learnt to dismiss pressure? Because it doesn't seem like right now there's a man who's feeling any pressure sitting in front of me.
No, I think that my whole life's always been pressure. Before this, I was dealing with 4 years of the Romanian judicial system and getting thrown in and out of jail. And before that, I had assassination attempts when I became the most Googled man on the planet. And before that, XYZ. My whole life's been pressure. I've never had a single day without pressure. Perhaps you can change the reason for the pressure, but there's always been pressure every single day. I've never had a day in the last decade where I woke up pressureless. So you either adapt or you don't, right? So perhaps there's a different reason this time. But even when this is all over, I don't go back to having a pressureless life. I still have plenty of engagements and problems and difficulties and warrants and bullshit around the world to deal with. So this is just another day in the life of Andrew Tate, and I'm very good at being Andrew Tate.
Do you think people presume that you've got quite an easy life from the outside? They see the Lamborghinis, they see the wealth, they see the influence, and they think that waking up as you would be, you know, a pretty easy, a pretty simple life?
I think that idiots assume that, yes. Stupid people always assume that, not understanding that success is very much like top speed in a car. The faster you go, the more air resistance you reach. And the reason most people never get to the top is because the air resistance pushes them back down. Most people are not prepared to deal with the problems I deal with. They're not prepared to deal with the stress I deal with. They're not prepared for the responsibility. It's the sword of Damocles. It's a very old story, and I don't want to make it boring, but if you want to hear a longer version, you can Google it, the sword of Damocles. But there was a king on a throne, and all of these beautiful women were feeding him grapes, and he was giving orders, and everyone was obeying him, and he was the king of the castle, and everyone loved him. And one of his slaves, called Damocles, said, I would love to know how it feels to be a king one day. Please, I can't imagine sitting on that throne and having all these beautiful women give me fruit and being able to give orders and give commands, and I'd love to feel like what it's like to be a king. So the king said to Damocles, sure, tomorrow you get to be the king. And when Damocles came in the morning, he expected it was a trick, but it wasn't. They put the crown on his head, and he sat down on the throne, and they started feeding him grapes, and he was giving orders and saying, do this, do that, I want this, I want that, and he felt amazing. And then he looked up, and above him he saw a sword hanging by a single horse's hair. And for the rest of his time as king, he couldn't relax, because he knows at any moment that string might break. And once you get to becoming one of the most well-known people on the planet, when your friends like Charlie take a bullet in the neck, when you have government agencies after you, when you have people declaring you a national security threat for your views and your opinions, saying that you deserve to go to jail for the rest of your life, when they raid your house 6 times, when they kill your dog, when all this garbage happens, you realize that, you know, Bugattis and private jets, etc. Yeah, sure, everyone sees the fancy side, but it's not easy to be the king.
That's one thing that really interests me, because like I said, everyone sees the fancy side. I want to know what the reason is for you doing this, because you don't have to do this, right? And I know that you, by your own admission, will accept that if you knock out Chase Moore, which is a real strong possibility, that it doesn't affect the legacy, the fighting legacy of you. So what is your reason? What is your reason for doing this? Because you don't have to.
Fighters fight. If there's no reason to ever become a fighter. There's no reason for anybody anywhere on the planet to wake up and decide to go to the fight gym and dedicate themselves to a sport which most of the time won't even pay them in the end and risk their life. It's either something you're born with or something you're not. Fighters fight. I did this before attention. I did this before money. It's something I've always wanted to do. It's something I've always done since. And I'm not too old to do it one more time, or 3 more times, or 5 more times.
I was going to say, after one more time, I hesitated.
There's plenty of people who need punching in the face. And God's given me the capability to punch people in the face. So perhaps as his vessel, I need to do what he wants me to do. You know, I think of all the enemies in the world I do not want to have, God is one of them. I'm not afraid of Chase Damore, I'm afraid of God. So if God wants me to punch people's faces in, then I want to make him happy with me.
We're going to come to that list in a minute because I know it will be a pretty exciting list for those listening. What do you expect from Chase Damore? We saw you have a little back and forth at the workout yesterday. I guess you revealed a little bit to us about your style and what we might get, not too much, but what did you think about what you saw from Chase in the ring? I know he was observing, kind of smiling away for 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah, I've never really been a game plan guy. I mean, you work on things in the gym, but you train your reactions and you get in there and you react to what happens in real time. So I've never really been a game plan guy. It doesn't matter if he's orthodox, southpaw, it doesn't matter if he, you know, comes forward, moves backwards. I know how to fight. I've done this a bunch of times before. So I've never really believed in game plans. I believed in training myself. This is about me. This has nothing to do with him. In my mind, he's not part of the equation, which I know is confusing to the outside world. In my mind, Chase doesn't exist. Chase doesn't exist. This is Andrew versus Andrew, me versus me, and it's down to me to perform.
What generates more virality, more clicks, more numbers? You knocking out Chase Damore or Chase Damore knocking out you?
I can't even imagine the other alternative. It's never even crossed my mind. And
the
and virality. I mean, virality. I have to be honest with you. Virality. I'm kind of beyond it. I don't give a shit. Without disrespect, I was the most Googled man on the planet. I don't give a fuck if everyone watches this fight or nobody watches this fight. I'm doing this because I want to fight, and I'm glad that people are interested in it. But I'm not sitting here trying to go viral. I'm not approaching this as an influencer. I'm approaching this as a consummate professional who has a fight, and I'm going to turn up and I'm going to win. That's how I see it. I don't see anything outside of that. I'm not sitting here thinking, how do I get people to know me, go viral? What do I wear on the day? I don't care about any of that. I want to fight, and I'm going to fight.
See, because my thinking was, if you want to say none, but the 0.00001% chance that Chase does land a punch from the gods, does that not light a little fire inside you that, yeah, it does come with circumstance? You know fighting comes with circumstance.
What's the question?
So does it not light something in you, the fact that if Chase is to knock you out like he's saying he's going to do, I mean, it will be unavoidable. It will be one of the biggest clips the internet has ever seen. Does that not light a fire in you that...
Yeah, I'm very prepared for that eventuality. I've been training hard knowing that, of course, it's a possibility. A fight is a fight. However, I enter this fight with a pure heart. I believe that the outcome's already set in stone. I enter this fight with a pure heart. Whatever God's plan for me is God's plan for me. If God decides that that clip needs to go viral, then that's what it's going to be. I don't give a shit. I really have not, a lot of people say this about me when they meet me. I really do not have the ego people think I have. I don't care. There's a lot of people at home who have never entered the gladiatorial pit who can have opinions. There's a lot of people who sit on couches who tell UFC fighters things to do all day. Unless you've been in there, unless you've done it yourself, then your opinion doesn't matter. And the people who have been in there understand that the reality of life is that it doesn't always go perfectly all of the time. I enter with a completely pure heart. I don't have any fear. I don't have any pressure. I don't have any nerves. I don't care. It is what it is. I'm going to fight to the best of my ability. I believe that I'm going to win. The result I've seen so many times in my mind's eye that I'm going to knock this man out. And if I lose, then I go back to my Bugatti and my private jets and my perfect life and my children. It doesn't matter to me. And if some idiot on the internet wants to, try and make fun of me for it, these people don't exist in my realm. They're nobodies. I don't give a shit. And I don't care. It doesn't. If the question is, do I feel pressured to become some anon account that's going to say something to me? No. My life has been the most generational run in fucking history. I grew up in Gary, Indiana, which is the murder capital of America, moved to Luton, England, which is a dump, ended up being a 4-time world champion, retiring with a very, very good career, became the most Googled man on the planet, became a billionaire, got attacked by the Matrix and thrown in a Romanian dungeon, got declared a national security threat by Western governments because I had so much control over the young men of the world, because I was telling the young men of the world to not be trannies and fucking retards. And now I'm back here to fight again. My life is a generational run. I drove here in a Bugatti. I'm living in a $28 million house. My life's fine. So if anybody wants to come along and say, oh, Andrew at the age of 40 decided to, instead of coming out of jail and retiring on his yacht with a bunch of women and doing a bunch of cocaine and being a fucking idiot like everyone else would do, to dedicate himself to something, to stand up and go, you know what, I'm going to give 4 months of my life to try and see if I can still do it, and take a huge risk and go against someone who's younger than him and bigger than him and more active than him, it didn't work. Well, then they're an idiot. Genuinely, they're an idiot. I have no problems losing, which is why I'm going to win. It doesn't cross my mind. I don't care. because this was about me. This was about going through the training camp. This was about doing what I was supposed to do, which is use my youth to the best of my ability. I could have come out of jail. I could have kept my money. I could have had a very easy, very nice life. And most people would have done that. But that's why most people aren't me. And that's why I'm not most people. So I'm here to fight. I really don't think about the outcomes or anything. I'm here to fight. I want to fight. That's it. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, you're here to fight and you want to fight, and it couldn't be any clearer. But just straying off it quickly, you talk about the life you've had, and you called it a generational run, the story where you grew up, what you've been through, what you've gone on to do and achieve. What's on the Andrew Tate bucket list outside of combat sport?
Outside of combat sport, there's not much else to do. I've shifted.
I feel like you've completed life.
Well, yeah, I've shifted the Overton window. I've done a very good job of waking people up to the realities of the matrix we live in. And the matrix is very angry at me for it. And they're trying to demonize me for the collapse of the West now, when truthfully I'm the answer to the collapse of the West. And everybody knows that. In many ways, I've passed the torch on to other people. And, you know, the younger generation are now more awake and more based than they've ever been. And I want to have 20 sons. And that takes a lot of time for me to raise them all properly. I'm getting there. I have to make them all as well. And it takes more than one woman to get it done. So I have a lot of stuff to do. So, you know, outside of combat sports, the next 2 or 3 years, I'm going to knock a bunch of people out. I'm going to have a whole bunch of sons. I'm going to try and not take a bullet.
Let's get back onto that list and back onto combat sport. By the time you enter the ring, which is just 48 hours away, Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua would have fought. What are you expecting now that we're 24 hours away from what is... I still can't believe these two will step in the ring. What are you expecting in Miami?
Huge respect for Jake. Everybody knows that Anthony Joshua should win, but this is boxing, which is why it's the most entertaining sport in the world. So we're going to see what happens.
Anthony Joshua knocks out Jake Paul, you knock out Chase Demore. Do the stars align?
What, me v AJ?
That smile said something to me.
Well, I mean, maybe I'd be a bit more nervous for that fight than this one. I mean, this one, yeah, I enter with a pure heart and I don't care. Fighting AJ? I mean, I know AJ. I've met him a few times. A really nice guy, really good guy. But, you know, he's a legend of the sport. He's been around. He's fought everybody. So I truthfully just hope everyone gets in the ring and gets out the ring without injury and has a good time. And I respect anybody who gets in the ring and dedicates himself. I even respect Chase. I respect anybody who decides to go to a training camp, dedicate themselves, turn up on a day, and put it on the line. I respect anybody who does that.
What do you make of AJ saying that if he can kill, he'll kill?
I mean, it's up to him what he wants to say and how he wants to try and intimidate Jake. But yeah, I mean, he showed that in some of his other fights when he had the chance to, you know, not give the crazy haymaker. He took the chance to throw the crazy haymaker. So, you know, AJ's a killer. He's a dangerous man.
Yeah. Can't wait for that fight. Can't wait for your fight on Saturday. There's one question I want to end with, and it's one that I want to selfishly ask. I'm a big advocate of teaching young people boxing, maybe putting it into schools in the United Kingdom, because it's more than fighting, it's discipline and it's honour.
Yeah, but the schools in the United Kingdom are too busy spending money saying that I'm the reason that the country's collapsing. I don't know if you saw they launched a new initiative today against me.
Today?
Yeah. So the UK is spending billions of pounds trying to say that Andrew Tate is bad because I'm somehow toxic for telling young men to do exactly that. Dedicate themselves, go to the gym, work hard, box. I've never advocated for knife crime. I've never pushed drugs. In fact, I'm opposing all of the problems that the UK has, but the UK government still endlessly issues arrest warrants and tries to put me in jail. So I would love for there to be boxing in British schools, but if you think those fucking clowns are ever going to do that, you're out your mind, because they really are just watching the country. In fact, they're tanking the country on purpose, and you do it via the youth. They're trying to demasculinize all of the young men on purpose.
What do people misunderstand about fighting the most, as my final question? What do they misunderstand about fighting?
People think fighting is about being tough, and it's really not. It's about being smart. Smart fighters have long careers. Tough fighters have entertaining but short careers.
Andrew Tate, what a pleasure. Thank you.